Welcome back to my channel and to episode 2 of Not All Self-Defense is Created Equal. This is the series where I, and more about me in a minute, evaluate popular self-defense or so-called self-defense videos and teach you how to be a smarter consumer of this kind of media. I went into a lot more detail about my reasons for starting this series in episode 1, linked in the description box below. But basically, there are a lot of bad self-defense demos and instructions online, and I want to show people how to distinguish between good and bad self-defense videos as well the entire systems. Self-defense is my passion, and I worry about people learning techniques off the web that don't work and would actually cause more harm in real life. Before we start, a disclaimer. My intention is not to throw shade on anyone or take away from what they have accomplished professionally, and I'm definitely not trying to make fun of anyone. I have and do work with many people who have been assaulted and abused, and I take self-defense very seriously. I find it very concerning that people with certifications or qualifications and facilities are teaching techniques that do not work and that, more likely, would get someone hurt if they tried it in real life. I will not be naming anyone or linking to any videos. This video is for educational purposes only. For those of you who are new, my name is Omri Serper and I am the head instructor of IDF Krav Maga School in Canada. I am an IDF veteran and certified by the IDF to teach Krav Maga and have been practicing Krav Maga for over 30 years. Today's clip shows a few knife defense techniques from a popular system on YouTube. As in the last video, I'll show you the clip at regular speed, then break down each technique move by move to see if they are realistic and would work. Then I'll play it again at regular speed so you can see it for yourself with this insight. I'll then show you a demo of how IDF Krav Maga system would handle similar attacks. Okay, here we go.
Is a genius. Yeah. You see? Genius is bullshitting.
So some videos online are just not good self-defense, and some I consider a scam. This is pure entertainment, Hollywood-style choreography. Nothing in the many videos I watched would be even remotely effective. It bothers me a lot that people are paying money and spending time learning something that will do nothing if they are ever attacked. I almost wasn't going to do this video because to me it is so obviously silly, but given that the videos have millions of views and there appear to be lots of students in the videos, I felt I needed to. I'll show now what I see so you can see it for yourself. First, as usual, the defender is looking down at the knife, which means he is not aware of his surroundings, and just a side note, focusing on a weapon will make you more likely to react emotionally and not strategically. This will get you hurt. An attacker using a knife is generally going to be very aggressive and hold the knife very tightly. Now, and notice the defender is still looking down, he slaps the hand with the knife with his left palm, slaps the attacker in the stomach with the back of his right hand, while stepping back with the right foot. I talked about this in episode 1, but basically, if you step back on the same side as your strike, you are pulling yourself back, losing energy and power, and if you are small, limiting your reach. Terrible, terrible self defense. This does not work. You can even try it with your kids. Obviously, not with a knife. The second segment shows a more complex knife defense, which is even more unrealistic than slapping the knife away. Again, the defender is looking at the knife. We've talked about this. Here, he slaps the hand holding the knife while hitting the knife holding elbow with a limp wrist. First things first, and you can even see it in the video. If you slap a knife being held to your belly like this, you slice your own stomach open. Now, here, in this next section, he just made everything he did before irrelevant because he switches hands in the middle of the defense. This obviously leaves the attacker's hands free momentarily, and an attack only takes a moment. Now, with his right hand, he actually pulls the knife almost back towards himself. You see the knife is next to his chest and elbow, and he is being cut. The other hand gives a lame bitch slap. Here, the knife is still very close to his own body. Throughout this entire defense so far, the knife is basically in contact with the defender's own body. Also, look at the attacker. That little slap from the last slide seems to have left him completely stunned. His unarmed hand just hangs there. Here, he has drawn the knife even closer, and I want to pause here for a second. In case it needs to be said, when you defend against a knife, the goal is to get the knife away from your body immediately, then disable and disarm at the same time if possible. But anyway, let's continue. Look how he is holding the attacker's forearm with just his fingers while his wrists are completely bent. This reduces your power enormously and your motion is limited. Here, using this very weak hold, he takes the knife next to his own neck and head. Never mind that almost anyone could just pull out of this. Now, the defender prepares to cut the attacker with the attacker's own knife by bringing it close to his own face while having very little grip on the attacker's arm. Also, notice the attacker's left arm is still apparently disabled for no reason. More than enough time is left to take the defender to the ground or fight back. Now he shows how he uses the attacker's own hand and knife to cut the attacker's throat. Even if this would work, it would only work if you were stronger and bigger than your attacker. This is usually not the case. After the throat is cut, the defender goes for the final move, stabbing the stomach. Now, if the guy, according to this instructor, is very strong and somehow able to fight back with a slit throat, you use your knee to stab the stomach. Okay. And finally done. Longest and most elaborate defense ever. This is not defense, this is choreography. Next defense. Okay, first slide. Say it with me. His eyes are down. Here, before he has even started, he is stabbed. The knife is pressed into his stomach, and if it were real, would go completely in. The left hand grabs the wrist holding the knife, draws it down, and cuts his own stomach while punching the attacker's chest with his right hand. I won't go into punches in detail here, but this is not the correct way to give a bare-handed punch. Now, assuming you survived slicing your own abdomen, a punch to the chest like we just saw might cause you to step backwards, but not lean backwards, as if you were in the movie The Matrix. Everything that happens next is action movie fighting choreography. For starters, he puts his arm under the attacker's armpit and supports his weight, which I talked more about in the last video. But basically, if you are smaller than your attacker, this is suicide. Also, look at the knife. Again, he brings it up right to his body, and the attacker's left arm is seemingly non functional. I cannot stress it enough. If someone attacks you with a knife, do not do any move that brings it into contact with your own body. Here, he transitions into his next dramatic move, where he breaks the attacker's wrist. But before he does, you see he gets himself cut. And the attacker, this entire time just standing there, getting pulled closer and closer. Here, he says he is locking the arm and breaking the wrist against his stomach. Those must be some seriously rock hard abs. Also, the defender has pulled the attacker right up to himself, and you see, the attacker's left arm is totally free and near the defender's back, which is completely exposed. He would not just stand there and let you break his arm. In this position, he could take you down to the ground or just punch you in the kidneys and ribs, which, unlike a punch to the chest, really hurts. This is not realistic, and definitely none of this works if a bigger person than yourself is doing the attacking. None of this. Here, after breaking the wrist, he gives the attacker a backhanded slap. And this slap is so powerful it knocks him almost to the ground. A word about slaps. If you are this close to someone when you slap them, it is not easy to do it with power, and especially not with a backhanded slap. And here he uses a kick to the face, which reminds me of the kicks I used to give my friends while we walked side by side as kids. Who knows what I'm talking about? This is a kick that is actually taught in this system. Then he finishes off by not looking at his surroundings at all. And here is the last knife defense we saw. In this one, the attacker has a knife to the defender's throat. Here, the instructor is saying not to use a knee to the groin, which is typical. No, it is not. It is not typical to knee someone in the groin when they have a knife to your throat. I watched a lot of bad self-defense videos and I've never seen anyone recommend that. This instructor says what you should do instead is giving a punch to the ribs. In my opinion, this produces a similar effect on the hand holding the knife to a throat. It gets drawn down. If this happens, you are pretty well screwed. Now, the attacker has been punched, and where is the knife? The defender is, once again, holding it against his own body. Now, he goes for the other wrist like he's about to do the muscle ropes workout at CrossFit. He takes the attacker's knife arm and cuts the attacker's other arm with it. If you are ever attacked by a very weak person, you may be able to control their arms like this. Now he says he disarms the attacker, but it is unclear how. Is it from the attacker cutting himself again? The arm holding the knife is uninjured, so I don't even understand what is supposed to cause the knife to fall out of the hand. Even if you cut the attacker's arm twice, why would he fall? And even though he seems to have fallen, the defender pulls him back up just to give him a headbutt. But wait, there's more. He gives him a good kick to the groin. And then, wait for it, he finishes him with a good kick to the head. And he walks away, never having taken his eyes from the ground or even having his attacker in view. The attacker, at this point, only really has a cut to the arm and a couple of kicks disabling him. Someone on amphetamines would probably be up again. I don't believe that this instructor has any real experience with street fighting or defending at all. So, I hope going through these slowly and carefully has shown you that this system will train you only to be a choreographer or an actor. If you attempted any of this in real life, you would probably be dead. We even saw in these videos that he cuts himself multiple times while supposedly disarming and disabling his attacker. This is one of the more extreme forms of fake self defense I have ever seen so far. If you see this, watch it for fun, by all means, but do not attempt any of it in real life. Now I will play it once more so you see everything. In IDF Krav Maga, we have techniques for dealing with each of these types of knife attacks: knife to the stomach and knife to the throat. I'll be demoing these with a student who is taller than me and bigger than me, so you can see that it is effective for anyone against anyone.
Give me your money. Give me your wallet. Give me your money. Give me your wallet.
Thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it or learned something, I would appreciate a like and a share. Let me know what kind of a defense you would like to see in the next video. And if you want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell and you won't miss any.